Good morning. It's the start of a new week. We're going to continue on this plumbing nightmare. We have to make some alterations in the instrument panel. Let me show you the reason why. Here's our old one. Here's our replacement. You can see on this one, there's a shoulder on it. Well, the originals didn't have that shoulder, so it was never cut into our dash. So we're going to have to alter that on both sides. And another problem, this instrument is taller than this instrument. So we're going to have to redo the pipes. Also, if you notice, the fitting is in a different location. So yeah, we have to do quite a few things in order to make these work. But we'll get it. And we'll go from there. I'll get back to you. We have a special guest coming in this week. I'm not going to give away the secret. You're going to have to watch for a while. But it's pretty special to us, and hopefully you'll stick around long enough to see who's coming. Anyway, stand by. Okay, we're furthering our plumbing nightmare. And Bob is working on the enunciator panel, and let me show you what we're doing. Okay, so here's our manifold where we've got these sensors that are going to detect left-hand fuel pressure, left-hand oil pressure, right-hand oil pressure, and left-hand oil pressure. Plus, we're also sensing whether we have a vacuum component or not. So what Bob's been doing, we've been pressure testing these in a graduated scale and seeing what the nominal numbers are as we go through the different pressures. And then what Bob's going to be able to do is he's going to be able to create a card and be able to enter software into it so we can set when the light will come on. Say we're getting low oil pressure. Say we're getting low oil pressure, and he'll be able to note whatever we decide that number will be, and that will turn the light on and let us know we've got a problem. So hang on a minute, and we'll get this tested. All right, so I'm going to turn on the pressure, and Bob's going to record. Right now we're sitting at 0 psi, and we've got an 8.9 9 on the meter, 9 ohms resistance. So I'm going to go to 5. And this is how we've got it plumbed. Here's our gauge. We're plumbed into this sender right here. Boy, it takes a minute to dial into this. Okay, there we go. So there's 5. To be clear, we did this already with a 100-pound scale, and it's not as accurate as this 30-pound one is, so we're just adding to our data. So here comes 10 psi. Okay. And we're now at 23.4. And here comes 15. And that's 32.8. Comes 20. And 20 says 39.9. Here comes 25. And that's 47.1. And here comes 30. There's 30. And that's 54.2. Okay. So we're going to do the whole exercise again on the other oil pressure The fuel pressure's there low anyway. That's why we changed from the 100-pound gauge to the 30-pound gauge. So we'll compare notes and come up with a graph and see where all of this lines up. So stand by. So something weird just happened here. There's a big hole here. There's floor space here. What's going on? Well, let me show you what's going on. Aha, there it is. The nose is over by the airplane so we can test the vacuum system. So, false alarm. It's not ready to go on yet. We're still testing systems, but this is just one more thing we have to do in order to be able to put this nose on. Okay, so we got the instrument panel cut for the new VSI that goes on the co-pilot side, and we have it installed, but now I have to make new pipes to fit the new instrument, and then we'll do another static test. So we've been working on the vacuum system. We got the static pretty well taken care of. We probably have a little more nuances to do to it. It's falling off a little more than it should, but we'll find it. We're working on the vacuum system, testing the vacuum system, and we're running into some issues, but we'll get to that next week. We'll see what happens when we get back to this. So I alluded earlier to having a special guest in the hangar today. Let me put the camera on him. Hold on a minute.
Hi.
This gentleman's Matt Cooper, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know who he is. But for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Matt Cooper. My father purchased this aircraft in 1990, and he and I and a ferry pilot were the last ones to fly it on a 3-leg, 2-day cross-country flight from Rockford, Illinois to Everett, Washington.
And so since then, you've become a commercial pilot.
Yes.
You work for one of the airlines.
Yes, I do.
And you also have warbird time.
Yes, I do. No A26 time yet. Yet.
So you've got, tell me the birds you've flown.
I've got a couple hundred hours in B-25s. Flew the B-25 Grumpy up in the Northwest for a number of years, and then I've been flying Berlin Express, the EAA B-25 based out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin for the last 3 or 4 years.
And you also have T6 time?
Yeah,
T28?
Got to fly T6, T28, TBM Avenger. I used to haul freight in Beech 18s. I flew Beavers on floats for a long time.
Okay. So I've known he's been coming for a while. I've been poking the bear, trying to get him out here so he can lay hands on this airplane. So he's been here all day. Dave sent him a t-shirt 6 months ago. He says, I can't wear it until I actually get my hands dirty on this airplane.
That's right.
So he's qualified now.
I've got to earn my shirt.
So one thing that I haven't told Matt, and I want to share with you and him, I want him to be in the right seat of this airplane. Sorry. I want him to be in the right seat of this airplane for its return to flight.
Wow.
And to that end, I've been talking to a couple of other A26 operators that are willing to bring him up to speed on A26s. There's going to be some hoops he has to jump through in order to do that. But I'm going to continue to poke that bear and see if we can get that done.
All right. Well, that would be a huge, huge honor. And Bob, I accept.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can get it done. You've got a lot of work to do, my friend.
All right.
All right.
I'm willing and able.
All right. So let me tell you what we've been doing. Well, we've been here. So our astute airline pilot sat in the cockpit and said, You don't want this here. You want it somewhere else. So, we've been rearranging the 6-pack. We've been rearranging the fire suppression system controls. But one thing that he noticed is that that's the fuel flow gauge, and it used to be there. Unfortunately, the oil pressure gauge used to be there. It's a terrible thing for a scan to be able to know the health of your engines. So we've moved the fuel flow down there, which is way down on the list of important stuff. It's a cool feature. Douglas never had this in here. This was an on-mark addition, but we're moving the oil pressure up there, so it'll be part of the instrument scan for the pilots so they can monitor the health of the aircraft. Now we have, over on the other side this morning, Matt and I have been reconfiguring. We've got a new VSI over there that Jan fixed the instrument panel so that instrument would fit. So now I've made new pipes. We've tested all this. I think we have a little leak, and we'll have to do a proper test to find out and to make sure that we do have a leak, and we'll have to find it. Right now, I'm trying to get the vacuum system. We're going to be testing that. Hang on. And this is the first time you've sat in the airplane since 1990.
That's correct. First time it's been assembled that I'd sat in it since probably sometime in the mid '90s.
Now you've been here a couple of times when I wasn't here.
Correct.
Since we've been working on it. Were the seats in it the last time you were here?
I don't remember. The fuselage was sitting on the floor. The wings were in a rack standing on end behind the fuselage.
Man, that's been a minute.
So I know I sat here in this location, but I don't know if I was in a seat. I might have been sitting on a box or a bucket.
Could have been. All right, well, we're going to continue on with what we're doing, and I'll check back with you. Stand by. So, Matt, in your journeys with regarding this airplane, when you were young and your dad was all about making this airplane a viable aircraft, he did some things that were, in today's age, you wouldn't go about it this way, but back in the days before internet and email and all of that stuff, your dad did some pretty extraordinary things. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so my dad was an engineer, so he never did anything the simplest way, first of all. And also this was the pre-internet age. He was researching and looking at various warbirds in the late 80s and purchased the A26 in the fall or summer of 1990. When he was focusing on A26s, he reached out to all of the registered A26 owners in the United States. And the way he did that was he wrote letters. He wrote kind of a form letter and sent it to all of the registered owners. And I would guess there's maybe 35 or 40 that he sent out. And in the letter, just explained who he was, what he was doing, thinking of buying an A26, but didn't have any applicable experience. And if anybody had any words of advice or encouragement for him, that's what he was looking for. So he, along with the letter, he sent self-addressed, stamped postcards, and on the back of the postcards there was some check boxes to make it very simple in trying to encourage these other A26 owners to at least check a box, maybe put in a quick note and drop it in the mailbox and send it back to him. So just looking at the back of these postcards, it's four different check boxes. The first box was, I have an A26 in your category. Here's some preliminary information and my asking price. Contact me for details at, and fill in the blank. The next option for them to check the box was, I'm no longer in A26s or warbirds. No referrals, but contact me for fatherly advice and spares information. The next option, or the next checkbox, was, I've sold it to blank. Good luck. Let's see, I guess there's 5 boxes. The fourth one here, checkbox, don't bother me. He did get a couple of those. And the fifth box, checkbox, was, get serious. There's nothing out there in your price range, but I like your spunk. Keep in touch. So he got
pretty inventive.
Yeah, it was. He was a creative guy. He was a creative problem solver, and he knew that this was way over his head, but he was stubborn, I guess, and was going to do it anyways. but was looking for some encouragement and maybe some advice and maybe some other like-minded individuals that would be willing to converse with him. So he got some replies, and he got some prominent names to reply.
Yeah.
Had a reply from Kermit Weeks saying good luck. Had a reply from Denny Lynch, who at the time was still running Lynch air tankers, and this was shortly after the movie Always had made it to the movie theaters. So Denny replied, I have 7 A-26s, but can't meet your demands right now, and then gave his contact information. Let's see, Kermit Weeks wrote back, I have Whistler's mother, but is not for sale. Good luck. And then a funny one here. Let's see. This was, the reply says, Sonny, your price range is not realistic. Look at Trade-A-Plane, exclamation point. Your FAA registration information is wrong. We only have one A-26. And then it's signed, sorry, Ed Maloney from Planes of Fame. So it was just interesting to get these replies, and my dad got a kick out of all of them, and you know, he was able to contact over the telephone and probably through written mail, postal mail, and got in touch with some of these owners, and there were some other small name people that, you know, most people would not recognize as A-26 or Warbird operators that wrote back and said, hey, we've got an A-26, come practice working on ours, or we have spare parts, let's trade parts. Yeah, so there was some, it was an interesting correspondence, and it was a lot of fun. I was a young kid.
So if you can see this, it's postmarked in 1990, and Matt has kept these cards. And one other thing I'll show you, this is a picture that I have not seen before, but Matt thinks this was the last time that the engines were run on the airplane back in 1990.
That's dated on the back.
91.
July 17th, 1991.
Right there. So just a interesting history.
Yeah, and my dad took copious notes. I have binders full of all of the telephone logs, telephone call logs that he made, you know, that he left a message, or it was an unanswered call, or he had received a call back and missed it, from all sorts of names in the Warbird world, and names that most people wouldn't even recognize, that were associated with A-26s or Warbirds or round engines or parts or tools during those times.
Okay.
So it was after losing my dad a couple years later, and still I have apple boxes full of documentation that really doesn't mean anything to anybody other than me, that I kind of get a kick out of it.
Sure.
But holy cow, he invested a lot lot of time.
It's kind of like your personal journal or diary.
Yeah, absolutely. It was certainly his diary.
Yeah,
so.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's get back to work.
Okay.
So on behalf of myself, Matt, the rest of the crew, there's Bob and John are over in the corner over there. Want to thank you for watching our videos. Hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully what we've done is interesting to you. Please subscribe if you haven't. Drop a like and share the video out, and comments. Please leave comments. I love them. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.